After this, when Jesus knew that all was now finished, he said, in order to fulfill the scripture, "I am thirsty." There he was, hanging on that cross, on the Mount of Golgotha, his body dripping with the blood and sweat of all the sin humanity had poured into him. How could he not tremble from the pain of those nails still penetrating his body? The heat of the sun bearing down on his blood-wrenched, thorny crown. Ironically, so much moisture on the outside, causing a drought in his mouth and throat. I am thirsty. I am thirsty. A phrase often heard from beggars and the sick, all suffering from a thirst representative of a need that is unmet. He was offered a drink not too long before, but refused. Jesus refused a drink of wine mixed with gall. For who wants a drink as sour as vinegar, even when they are thirsty? As Jesus died slowly and painfully on that cross, I imagine that he was thirsty for more than just water. I imagine that, like so many of us who suffer, Jesus was thirsty for righteousness, to embody humanity in ways that would avenge his sacrifice. As people, we can relate to what it feels like to be thirsty. On any hot summer day, especially when the humidity is high, a dry throat is not such a foreign concept. Health professionals and grandmas often tell us to drink enough water to cleanse our bodies of the impurities that we take in, to keep us hydrated so our bodies can properly function and we can live full and healthy lives. On this planet where 71% of the surface is covered with water, only 3% is fresh water. This is why over 771 million people can have a lack of access to clean drinking water. With the shift to bottled water in our society, many make the choice to avoid tap water altogether at any cost. I suppose it does not help that our trust has been violated by the lack of care prevalent in our systems that create this water. We see events of unsafe water in places like Flint, in indigenous communities that are under constant threat of pipeline development and spillage. There is no safe place for the very thing that can quench our physical thirst to be untouched by the threat of humankind, yet we still have a need to be met. Although it is a far cry from Jesus' pain and agony, I feel pain every day when the children at my school scour the building for a bottle of water, thirsty for something wet to go down their dry, achy throats as they try to pay attention in class. Unwilling to trust that the water at the fountain is safe to drink, no matter how thirsty they may feel. They know that such a drink, like the drink offered to Jesus, will not meet their needs. Instead, they go on thirsty until they find themselves in a place where they will be cared for more efficiently. I thirst for a world who cares for our children more efficiently, that recognizes that children are the very reason that humanity continues in the world. I thirst for a world that understands that the adults, we set an example. The hope that Jesus has for us can be our example. How can we walk with Jesus and thirst for a more righteous way of living? How can we thirst for a world where love is plentiful and unconditional, where the next generation can live without fear of violence at school or at home? How can we thirst for education that is full of truths about their ancestry and the world, so they can see themselves included in the accomplishments and not just an afterthought on the side? How can we thirst for the deconstruction of systems and social constructs that perpetrate cycles of abuse throughout our future generations? Constructs like race, gender, age, intelligence, and beauty. Constructs that sell a story different than the world we can all thirst for. Oh, how can we thirst for a world where people can lean into love and be loved, where hate has no place in our hearts and care for ourselves and each other outweighs all. Where water, fresh water, is accessible to all. Where children can quench their thirst at water fountains in schools without fear of getting shot, because they know the adults in the world will take care in assuring their safety. I can never imagine the thirst that Jesus felt as he was slowly dying on that cross for our sakes. I can, however, imagine that we can do better than offer a drink of sour wine mixed with gall. I thirst for that world, a world where we can all drink the water that comes from the Lord, for only then shall we thirst no more.